screen, high resolution, is going to be very important as I collate that against some of the later unsealed texts. The long-term reason for this, obviously, is to give us an even better foundation upon which to challenge unbelief, to challenge whether it's secular unbelief, attacks upon the New Testament, religious unbelief, so on and so forth. But it's going to take some work, and I would just ask that those of you who support the ministry would consider really making a commitment to do that during this period of time, because I'm going to have to simply not get involved in a lot of other things that I normally would get involved with. And it's gonna be a challenge. It really, really is gonna be a challenge. So your prayers would be, for health, for focus, being able to get this work done, and that it would be something that would, I think, could really be extremely helpful in the defense of the faith. So that took place while I was there in Potchefstroom. Then we had the debate at the University of Johannesburg, and what's amazing is I know that the video has already been posted of this. And did you link to that one yet, or did you see that one?
I haven't had a chance to link to any of them yet.
Okay.
So I've got some serious catching up to do.
Myself and Uncle John Gilchrist, did a debate with Bashir Varnia and Muhammad Kavadia. And I forgot to cue that up. Oh, I need to make a note to myself. We'll do it on the next dividing line. But I have the BBC video. And I said I was going to do it on this one. I'm sorry. I can only do a jumbo today for other reasons. But we'll try to do it next week. Muhammad Kavadia played a BBC clip about the Didache. That just, honestly, it was hard for me not to laugh. It was so outrageously silly. And yet it's BBC. I mean, I can't blame Muhammad Kavadia for not recognizing this. He's not a scholar of early church history, but when the BBC is trying to make it look like the Didache is a secret text and there's only one, this is the first time this has been seen on television and blah, 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 blah. I've covered the Didache in every church history class I've taught since the late 1990s. No, early 1990s. There is nothing secret about the Didache at all. And they're trying to blow it up into, well, it doesn't teach the deity of Christ. And you're just like, it's a discipline manual. Hello. I mean, it was really bad. Really, really bad. And I feel sorry for our Muslim friends. Except I have to go, don't you all realize that the BBC does that to you? Just like it does it to us? The BBC is not a reliable source of information on anything religious at all. Period. It's just, anyway. So we did a debate, and especially the Q&A period where I was being asked questions by Bashir. That was probably one of the more fast-paced portions. And then when Muhammad was asking Uncle John Gilchrist questions, I think the two positions were clearly discernible at that point in time. But let me mention something. The guys up in Coleraine took me up to what's called the Giant's Causeway. And I had looked this, as soon as I had mentioned I was going to Coleraine, everybody started tweeting me saying, you need to get up to Giant's Causeway. So, my flight got in, and basically guys asked me what I want to do. I said, well, everybody told me to go see Giant's Causeway. It's only about 20 minutes drive from where we were in Coleraine. So they took me out there, and I had Googled it, and I had looked at some images, but I really wasn't 100% certain what I was looking at. And, I was like, okay. It's a geological formation right on the shore of the North Sea there, or the Atlantic. I'm not sure if it's called the North Sea there, but anyway, it's a volcanic thing to where it looks like it's all made out of these huge extruded hexagons. It's wild. It really is. It's beautiful. And you have to do a lot of walking to get out to it. And so I was actually walking back from Giant's Causeway when I reestablished cell connection. and I get a note from Rudolph in South Africa. We had been worried that the debate wasn't going to take place because there had been violence. There had been rock throwing and a mini riot. And these riots some of them have been done by students who are basically demanding free education. They're Bernie Sanders guys, but they're in South Africa. And then by workers who want their jobs transferred into government jobs, because basically once you get a government job in South Africa, you can never get fired. You can, and you don't have to work either. So, and so there's been some violence and some protests at various universities. And we were a little concerned that the debate was going to get called off because there had been violence in the morning. Well, thankfully it wasn't, and we got to get it done. But I'm walking out of Giants Causeway, and I get this note from Rudolph. Students burned the building down that we had the debate in. Gutted it completely. It's multi-stories. It's huge. Huge. Gutted. As far as I can tell from Rudolph, the room that debate took place in is gone. No longer exists. It's a burned out wreck. The veneer of civilization, my friends, is very shallow, very thin, and it's amazing. And that was very sobering, very sad to hear that had taken place. So, wow. Tom Stockman on Twitter just said, apologies for being a lousy tour guide at the Giants Causeway. It was funny because these two young Irish guys, I'm asking them questions. Well, why it's called Giants Causeway? And so they started telling me about this myth about an Irish giant and a Scottish giant, and the Irish giant's chasing the Scottish giant. And so the Scottish giant there had been a causeway that connected Ireland with Scotland. And the Scottish giant was afraid that the Irish giant would chase him across the causeway. So he knocked the causeway down, and this is what's left of the causeway. And I'm like, I've got all sorts of questions. And so I'm asking these questions, and they're like, well, yeah, we studied that in school, but I'm not really sure I paid attention that day. Because I'm asking some more specific questions about the mythology behind this, and didn't really. And I made fun of them for that later on, but they really, they didn't really have to drag me out there anyways. So, but
take heart, folks. He does the same thing in the Civil War with Americans who didn't pay attention in school either.
Well, so. This is true.